So, and to adopt a kitten, what is the price that we charge for that?
Right now, kittens are $50, and then usually the older cats we do. Sometimes we just do a free will donation or $25. Or if people are willing to donate more on top of that, that'd be great, since they do stay there a little bit longer. And like Jeanette said, it is expensive for the kittens, just because of everything they have to do. All of their vaccines they have to get fixed. The staff, they get paid to take care of them, so we figure that into the cost. Utilities, a lot of people don't think about that. It costs money to keep the shelter going. But if somebody just if they want to adopt a kitten or a cat or a dog, first step would be to go online, fill out our application. If you aren't able to do that at home, we can do that at the shelter. We can bring that up on our computer. You can fill it out there. We do actually do a thorough check on applications. We do call references. We check with landlords to make sure it's okay that they have a pet. And then also vets. We want to make sure that people are keeping up with their vaccines or making sure their animals are fixed that they currently have. And once it's approved, we keep that on file for a year, and you are eligible to adopt any animal at that point if it's been approved.
And we really do go through that approval process because we want our pets, when they leave, to stay in their forever homes. It really is disheartening to watch a dog or cat have to come back to the shelter. And so we really want them to stay in their forever homes. So that's one of the reasons why we do have that adoption paperwork and vet it thoroughly.
It is. It's really hard, especially for the dogs. Cats are a little more resilient, but we've had dogs that have been returned once or twice, and each time you just see they're just broken. And we had a specific dog last year, and he finally found an amazing home. But the second time he got brought back, he was in his kennel, and he was just shaking. He was just super scared and heartbroken. And I went back there and I just sat with him in his kennel. I'm like, oh, buddy, I'm so sorry. And he kind of came back out of it, but it took him a little time. Mm-hmm. Dogs get super, super attached to their humans.
So,
oh yeah.
So you said we don't always say that our animals are housebroken, because there is a transition period.
Sure. Yes. Some, they may come in already potty trained, but they don't have grass in their kennels. They do have runs in and out, but some of them are they have that ingrained in their brain not to go potty, and they just hold it. And we try to, in the morning, get those dogs out. We have volunteers that come in the afternoon, and they know especially which ones to go get out right away, just so we can avoid urinary tract infections, because that's common with dogs that hold it like that. So yeah, they just may need a little bit of a refresher, and especially if they've been there for several months, they need to decompress too. Mm-hmm.
So do you have any other helpful hints if somebody's going to be bringing home a new cat, kitten, dog, puppy?
Yes, especially a dog, or if you have other dogs or cats in the home, we highly, highly encourage people to bring their dogs in if they're going to meet another dog. And just because they do okay at the shelter with a meet and greet doesn't always mean you can just go home and let them loose with your other dog. That happens a lot, and then people get really upset because there's an altercation. But we tell people, make sure the new dog and even your dog, keep a leash on them for a week. Let them drag it around, so if you need to grab them. We try to give as many helpful tips as possible so that it is a successful adoption and they don't come back. We have our office cats that we test dogs with, but then again, doesn't always mean they're going to get along with your cats. Our one cat will smack them in the face, the other one will love up against them. So depending on how your cat is and reacts with the dog, you may get a different reaction. So always something to keep in mind.
And I think with the cats too, so I know, I can just tell about my experience with Sai, right? Because he came home and he was a little nervous, and then I also have one cat who is particularly territorial, and so we had a separate room set up for him, and it was probably about 2 months before we could integrate Sai with all the other cats and leave them out and not worry about it. But because we took our time with it and kind of didn't push it, now the cat that's super territorial and Sai are best friends, right? So today they were like wrestling around on the floor and like biting each other, play fighting. So if you really take the time and do it right, it saves you a lot of heartache, and it saves you having to take an animal back.
I'm so glad you said that, Jeanette, because that's really, I think, maybe what we find a lot is that we don't take the time when we're adopting out. So yeah, please remember when you're considering adoption, factor that in your decision, that there's some time that it takes.